Once upon a time, Saints Row the Third was a really popular game on the PS3 and Xbox 360 back in 2011. Is anybody asking for it to return? What's up YouTube, I'm Ramakrishnan and I want to talk about Saints Row the Third coming to the Switch just today, Tuesday, August 21st. Deep Silver has confirmed that is actually happening. You know, the Switch just keeps getting new games. You can check out my last video, we talked about indies, and also games like A Hat in Time and Diablo 3 have recently been confirmed to be coming to the Switch. So that's awesome. Great console, right? And it's awesome to see old games that you never expect to see on a Nintendo platform make their way over, but is Saints Row the Third necessary? I'm actually a big fan of Saints Row the Third. I like the franchise in general, and I almost miss it. Saints Row 4 came out in 2013 and it was more of the same, but a little too much of the same. The whole superhero stuff though, that was just over the top. It got crazy. It was too much of a power trip and I kind of wasn't so sure about it. But then I went back to Saints Row the Third and remembered how much I love it. It's a little bit simpler, but it's not too simple. Maybe that's why 3 would be coming to the Switch and not 4, because people seem to like 3. Saints Row 4 is a little crazy and a lot of people kind of shared the same thoughts as I do. But Saints Row the Third is also old, so no one's necessarily asking for it that much. At least I wouldn't think so. But Deep Silver clearly knows somebody wants it, right? And they're not going back to their old games maybe because of that. They're a little too old and, you know, people are going to have something to say. So Saints Row the Third is, I feel like it's just right. It's sure 7 years old, but so is Skyrim. But it's a game that people loved on the PS3 and 360, unlike its sequel, you know? So maybe that's why they're bringing it over to the Switch, which is great and all. I'm a big fan of it, like I said, so I'll play it, most likely. However, we do need to get to some red flags here. Saints Row the Third is 2011. It is 2018, but the game's not going to come out to 2019 on the Switch, so 8 years later. The question I brought up right in the beginning of this video is who's asking for it? I don't know that there's that much demand. GTA 5, sure, that's got demand, and this might almost fill the gap for what GTA 5 would have been on the Switch, because I, at this point, don't think it's going to happen. But Saints Row the Third is a fun open world game with a lot of great stuff in there. It's just a good time. It's ridiculous, but not too much, and I really like it. Actually, I kind of stand by it as one of my favorite games from last generation, so rightfully so that if I get a chance to play it, it would be on the Switch. But the price point, how could it possibly be sold for $60 when you can buy it on the backwards compatibility on the Xbox One, or just go to a GameStop and pick it up for like under $5? Truthfully, it's a really cheap game that no one is clamoring to buy right now. So if you sell it for $60, that's a no-go. It's really not good. How about $30, right? Half price of a regular Switch game. No, it's still too expensive. But then you can't keep dropping it, because then at that point, indie games are going to cost more than that. And Saints Row the Third is a full-fledged AAA game, despite it being a little old. So how do you price it? That's a really hard thing that I'm not going to be able to answer, and no one is. But somebody's going to price it at whatever price they see fit. And that's the problem with ports. Not so much with a remaster or remake, but ports in specific, like the Switch games. You know, like you're buying Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, Doom, and other games that you already played on other consoles in the past, but now you're going to get them on the Switch and you're going to spend top dollar for them, and that's kind of not fair. So it's tough. I don't think Saints Row the Third will sell well at all if it's priced too high. And despite the fact that they could allegedly lose money just by selling it for cheap, I think it would be the best decision of Deep Silver's to sell it for a really cheap price, but not too cheap. I don't expect them to give it to me for $5, even though I can get it for $5 on my PS3. But maybe $20 I think would be fair. I admittedly will not go and spend top dollar for this, despite it being one of my favorite games from last generation, because I can pull out my old consoles or buy it on the Xbox store for my Xbox One for relatively cheap. So that's the story with Saints Row the Third. It is an old game. It's a fun game, which I love, but I just can't think it's justified to sell it for too high. So once we get a full release date and a trailer for it and stuff, you know, we're not going to really expect to see an insane jump in graphics, no new content or anything. Even the DLC is not that important in Saints Row the Third, so realistically, this game cannot sell for too much. But that's how I feel about it, so why don't you guys let me know in the comments below what price you think Saints Row the Third should be when it comes on the Switch. What price are you willing to pay, and which prices are too high for you for this? How would you justify your purchase of a port like this, and any ports in general? And of course, tell me, are you actually excited for Saints Row the Third for the Switch, whether you played it or not in the past? Let me know all your thoughts and we'll talk about Saints Row the Third. And hey, do you want Saints Row 5? I kind of do. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.